So, hello learners and welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to learn about forms of oral literature. But before we come to that, we have to start by defining what oral literature is. And we say that oral literature is a performed art which in most cases uses spoken words as a medium of communication. Take note of the words that I've underlined. I have underlined the word performed. Oral literature is supposed to be performed. This means that it has to be presented in front of an audience. So there has to be an active participation between the presenter and the audience. So the presenter has to use verbal and nonverbal cues to enhance the presentation of this oral literature to the audience. Then we say that it uses spoken words as a medium of communication. That's why it is called oral. It means that it is transmitted by word of mouth. So, we have three forms of oral literature. First of all, we have oral poetry. These ones are also called songs. Then we have the short forms. And then we have the oral narratives. So I want us to look at these forms one after the other. We're going to start with oral poetry or songs. We're going to start with the love songs. And these ones are used to communicate strong feelings that a person has for another. That is what love songs are. Then we have war songs. These ones are mainly used in the communities during war. They are mainly used to threaten or intimidate the opponents or to encourage the warriors during times of war. Then we have lullabies. These ones are used to make the baby to stop crying, and they also used to soothe or to lull the baby to sleep. After that, we have work songs. These ones, as the name suggests, they are sung during work, when people are working. And they are mainly used to praise the virtue of hard work. They were used to encourage people to work. And also, they were used to mock the lazy people. The lazy people in the community, they were mocked through work songs. After that, we have initiation songs. So these songs were mainly sung to encourage initiates who are about to go through the rite of passage. The rite of passage is that which marks the end of childhood and marks the beginning of adulthood. Then after that, we have the dirges or funeral songs. As the name suggests, they were used when a person dies. They were sung during the funeral when the person had died. So they were mainly used to praise the achievement and virtues of the dead. So what good things did the person do when they were alive? Then they were also used to encourage or to console the bereaved. The bereaved are those people, the family members who have been left behind by the dead person. After that, we have birth and naming songs. As the name suggests, birth songs were sung when a child was born, and naming songs were sung when a child was being given a name. So we have more songs, more categories of songs from our communities. So I suggest that you look into a community and find out about more types of songs from your own community. We come to the short forms, and the first short form is a tongue twister. And tongue twisters are used to sharpen our pronunciation skills. For example, if you have a tongue twister like Tony told Tina to tie two ties together, that is an example of a tongue twister. The second one is riddles, and a riddle is a statement that contains a puzzle, which is posted by the challenger and is supposed to be unraveled by the respondent. We have a lot of riddles from our communities. Then the other one is proverbs, and these ones are figurative statements filled with popular wisdom and accepted by the community. So these ones are figurative statements that have a lot of wisdom in them. We also have puns, and another name for puns is paronomasia. And puns, a pun is a clever, humorous use of a word that has more than one meaning. For example, you might get a statement like, the bicycle is too tired. The bicycle is too tired to work. The pun comes under the word tired. Tired can mean two things. It can mean the two wheels of the bicycle, or it can mean that it is worked out. That's an example of a pun. The other one is a joke. We are very familiar with the jokes, and these ones are mainly used to display humor. That's what a joke is. So after the short forms, now we come to oral narratives. This is the last category of the forms of oral literature. First, we have legends. Legends are stories about heroes of a particular community. For example, in the Luo community, we have a legend called Luanda Magere. I know you're familiar with that legend. After legends, we have myths. And these ones, they try to explain the beginning or the origin of things or mysteries that are beyond human understanding. For example, such mysteries as death or creation. That is what myths deal with. Then after that, we have monster stories. So these ones, as the name suggests, we have characters that are ogres or monsters. And they have a lot of exaggeration. For example, those ogres, some of them have one eye, some of them have a tail, some of them have horns. So those are the kind of narratives that we are talking about. After that, we have dilemma narratives or dilemma stories. Dilemma stories involve a character that is faced with more than one alternative and he has to make a choice or he has to make a decision. So that is what a dilemma narrative is. After that, we have a trickster narrative. In a trickster narrative, we have the deceiver, or this is the trickster, and the deceiver's victim, or also called the dupe. The deceiver is a cunning character, while the dupe is a foolish character. So in these types of narratives, we have one character tricking the other. After the trickster narrative, we have etiological narratives. These ones are also called the why narratives. And these narratives explain the existence of a phenomenon. For example, how the Great Rift Valley was formed. That's an example of an etiological narrative. Or why dogs stay with the man. That's an example of a why narrative. So they tell us why something or a phenomena happens. That brings us to the end of today's lesson. This lesson was on the forms of oral literature. That comes to the end of today's lesson. And I have some bit of homework for you. So you are going to collect 10 tongue twisters from a community. After that, you're going to practice saying these tongue twisters aloud until you are comfortable pronouncing them. And then after that, you're going to note the tongue twisters that will give you a hard time. So I hope that this lesson has been of great insight to you, and I hope that it is really going to help you in your revision of literature. So we are going to meet in the next lesson, and enjoy your time. Thank you.